Clearly, we will have to do an audit, and that process, in my view, has already started systematically, because within 7 years, we have to, first of all, take an audit out of the programs that we set out to achieve within the Vision 2030. What has been achieved? What can realistically be achieved in the remaining 7 years? And what may have to be carried forward? These are issues that we will have to undertake. And obviously, right now, the experts in government and these institutions have started thinking about 2063, when Kenya will be 100 years old. So that process has started. It may not be visible openly, but it is being done professionally by various departments, particularly spearheaded by the Department of Planning. That is really their core aspect, to start the preparation and an analysis and an audit of where we are since Vision 2030 was launched and what we need to do. In some instances, the priorities may vary as we go ahead. We want boards to take responsibility. And the theme of my message today was tuachane ama tuepukane na ile hadithi ya kusema waziri amesema. Yeah, there's that famous saying, waziri amesema. So people tend to pass the buck instead of taking decisions in accordance with the law and in accordance with regulations. They take a shortcut and say, waziri amesema. Sometimes huyo waziri hata hawajakutana. Tunaelewana? Lakini wanasema waziri amefanya nini? Amesema. And in the process, certain things then go in the wrong direction. So the message we are saying is that let them be ethical, let them be professional, and let them be guided by the Mwongozo guidelines on matters of state corporations. First of all, on the pending bills, I know for a fact that a committee was set up and it took stock of all these bills and it made certain recommendations. But it also calls for an audit, because as much as we may talk of the figure of about 1 trillion plus, we also have to go through a verification exercise. How much of that is genuine? And how much of it is inflated or concocted? Yeah. So those details must come out. All right. But on the figure, it's there. Now, apart from that, we also have the challenge of court cases where awards have been made. You know, so it's quite a challenge. Yeah, I'm talking professionally, but this is from a political perspective. When you see people walking in the streets and sometimes shouting, in all sincerity, do you think that the government of Kenya could have accumulated bills of 1 trillion from August last year to this time? Is it possible? So we are carrying a skunk from another, if I may use that word. We are carrying a skunk from somewhere else. Because it's not a bill that has accumulated in the last 6 months. Yeah? It's an accumulation of either commissions or negligence or omissions, and it has now blossomed. Yeah? It is now full blown. So we need to find a way of treating it, and it has to be done professionally. All right? When we talk of the public debt that we are grappling with, on a serious note, has this government executed any external bill at this point in time? No, they have not. All right? Apart from programs where you're talking with the normal World Bank or the normal IMF partners and the other development partners, where maybe certain commitments have been made over time, you cannot say that this government has gone and already signed huge commitments. This is the famous story of the person in the street shouting thief as he runs away, when in actual fact he's the guy. He's the fault guy. But he specializes in running in the streets and saying thief, thief, thief. So we have a country to build. We want to move forward. And we have said, I've given you that perspective, but it's not about the end game. It's not about the blame game. Rather, it's about the end game. And for us now, what we must focus on as a nation, because we were voted in, is to repair the damage and then move forward with more progressive approaches. Yesterday, the President of the Republic released the performance contracts results for the years 2021-2022. And this, in a way, is a sequel or continuation of that process. Because when the President spoke, he was very emphatic that he has a contract with the people of Kenya. His performance contract is very rigorous, and he's going to be judged on the basis of the commitments he made when he was leading the campaign, and in turn, he has given all these good men and women an opportunity to be part of his team. So he expects all of us to help him in the delivery of his bottom-up economic transformation agenda. And therefore, we are sharpening our tools, sharpening our skills, so that we can be able to do that as we go along. The President indicated that we are seeing debt levels that we have never seen before. You heard him. He did not mince his words. So he brought it out that we all have to pull up our socks so that we can get out of that dangerous situation that we are in. It's not that we cannot get out of it. We can get out of it. But we must now stop digging. That was the message he was putting across. We must stop digging and start getting out of the challenges that we are facing. He indicated, for instance, pending bills are very high, almost 1 trillion plus across the government, into the county governments, and therefore these are issues to address. And as I was speaking there, I was also pointing out that a vibrant economy is also dependent on a government that is also honoring its obligations. So when a government obtains goods and services from a contractor and then does not pay that contractor, you are becoming responsible, or you are actually responsible for impoverishing that contractor. Because an auctioneer does not just come to somebody's home for nothing. An auctioneer comes to that home because there's a default. So we must ask yourself, when public entities fail to pay their service providers, what are they doing to the state of this country? They're impoverishing Kenyans. the government of the day is supposed to serve and support its citizens to make money and to move forward and to grow the economy. The government of the day is not in the business of impoverishing its citizens. When I spoke to the PSS a few weeks ago, I think you captured it. One of the things that we said is that we also need to make sure that we are doing an audit of our skill sets and our performance and the entities, because you may find that there is excessive duplication in certain areas where, if we worked smart, we can find fewer institutions undertaking some of these challenges. So this is something that must be done rationally, professionally, and in accordance with the law. But it is a very, very serious issue, not just within public entities, but even within government itself. We need to rationalize that. And I gave an edict to the permanent secretaries to clearly look at their respective departments, state departments, and see where there is duplication and where there could be some synergy which can be put together so that we bring efficiency to the table. I also want to state that we are going to strengthen not just the State Corporations Advisory Committee, but all other entities, including the Inspectorate of State Corporations, because these are very critical in ensuring that there is good governance across the board in public enterprises. I gave the example that out of the 348 state enterprises that are there today, 79 of them are supposed to be commercial enterprises that pay dividends to the government of Kenya. And in my speech, which you will see, we have not been meeting that target. Only 5% of the 79 have been remitting dividends to the exchequer. Others have now become dependent on the exchequer. We must reverse that trend. We have seen public servants losing their savings through some of these entities, because all public corporations have an obligation to remit all statutory deductions, pay as you earn, NHIF, NSSF. Some of them have not been doing that. And even where employees have contributed to their various circles within that enterprise, you find that some of those entities have dipped into those savings, and you wake up one morning, it's a rainy day for you, maybe school fees, maybe medical problems. You go to your cooperative and they are unable to give you your funds because those funds have been utilized by other people. So these are the kind of things that we really want to point out, that we cannot make it business as usual. We must turn the tide.